Run, Skirk, run! Remember, leave no one alive!
Heed my words, Skirk. Let fear take root in your soul.
Did you survive? Why was it only you?
Skirk, did you become a positive light in this world?
Hey, this doesn't have to be the end. Life is a gift. Don't let darkness claim it.
So, you saw my memories then. I once asked my master if survival of the strongest was the law of the universe. He said no. But in a world without order, those with no moral boundaries tend to be the ones who survive. That's why, after hearing his answer, an idea came to mind. An idea that, one day, I would create a new world order. One in which there would never be another tragedy like that fire. One in which power was not the law of the land. But that means I must defeat him. Because my master, Sirologi, is, at the core, a defier of all rules and order. Yes, and not just because of the gap in our abilities, but also because I have no reason to see him as an enemy. Although his decision to train me was not made out of kindness, he did everything a master should. He saved my life, taught me the sword and the principles of strength, and for that, I respect him. I know, and it's not something I want. But Master never goes back on his word. I have to treat everything he says as a promise. Haven't had enough of my power. Well then, let's see how much more of this power you can handle. Well, have you come to your senses?
You saw that my body was at its limit. So, you deliberately channeled your power into me, knowing that it would destroy my shell from within. Such power, such keen battle instincts. So you must be...
Skirk, Sertologi's disciple.
How long has it been? How long has he been away from Tevat?
Hundreds of years.
Hundreds? Sorry, it's a lot to take in. I should introduce myself. I am Skofnungar, a friend of your master and one of his followers. This is the first time I've heard your name, Skirk. But hundreds of years ago, I knew you existed. And I knew you would come here.
Hundreds of years ago?
Sounds like you and Master have quite the history. Care to tell us about it?
Of course. Might as well take advantage of a clear head while I can. The story starts a long, long time ago. I was born into a noble family in Conria. As the eldest son, I was set to inherit our title. But I contracted an incurable illness as a child, and everyone gave up on me. I trained the sword harder than anyone else, defeated all of my peers. But it was all in vain. When other people looked at me, all I saw in their eyes was pity, or a strange glee in my misfortune. Even my parents were just waiting for me to die. Over time, my heart hardened, and I became aimless. That was the point where I met your master, Sertologi. We were similar in age, but different in background. He was born in prison, the son of criminals who had been sentenced to death. He spent his childhood wandering the streets, facing more criticism than the literary works in the Universitas Magistrorum. Yet, he always wore a smile on his face, as if kindness and malice were one and the same, and he could not see the difference. I still remember what he said to me when we first met. You need to fight to survive. Even if it's a losing battle, it should light a fire under you. How can you sit back like this and go down without a fight?
That does sound like something he would say.
He was the first to acknowledge that I was worth something, and he inspired me to keep going. When we sparred together, it was the first time I'd actually felt the thrill of combat. When I was 10, he stole forbidden research materials and managed to cure my illness. It was like there was nothing in this world he couldn't accomplish. When it came to the human form, he was always intent on pushing the boundaries of possibility. But somewhere along the way, I fell behind. My talents were nothing compared to his, and at some point, I realized he had pulled so far ahead, I was too embarrassed to even ask him to spar. After his grand endeavor was successful, he sought me out and said to me,
"This planet no longer holds anything of interest to me, so I'm leaving. But first, I have an offer. I can use a power I have just refined to break the curse of immortality for you. Your death was once what we worked so hard to prevent. But the immortality you now face is a different kind of pain altogether."
I'll pass. Immortality doesn't sound so bad to me. Since I can't die, it means I have an infinite amount of time to get stronger. Maybe I'll finally catch up to you one day. And we can spar like we used to.
Are you sure? I cannot say when I will return. Your body, or rather, your soul, might not be able to withstand this curse.
All I can do is try. After all, a wise man once told me, people need to fight for their own survival.
Wise indeed. Nevertheless, if you grow weary of the pain of immortality, and wish to experience a good sparring match before you wither away, seek out my disciple.
The curse of immortality allows it all to coexist, but it does not remove the pain. I won't be able to hold on to my sanity for much longer. What a shame. I would have loved to witness that battle. Sertologi once offered to free me from this curse. Now, I must ask that of you, Skirk. Can you release me from the pain?
I can, but not through death, if that's what you were hoping for. It's not a suitable punishment for your crime. As an alternative, I can take your consciousness, along with all the power you've consumed, and smash it to pieces. The impurities will dissipate, and under the curse of immortality, your mind and body will regenerate. When that process is complete, you will be back to who you were before, no longer tortured by powers you can't control, but it will be a time-consuming and painful process. The decision is yours to make.
I accept. And who knows? Perhaps I'll wake up in time to witness your great battle with Sertologi. I have faith that you'll be able to stand against him one day. Though I know it'll be a long and arduous road if we are climbers in the dark. It appears the dawn has finally broken for me. But your ascent continues. At least, it looks like you are not alone on your journey.
I will reach the top of this mountain, no matter what it takes. And you, Skofnunger, will be my witness at the end of all things.